Hey friends, it's Laura. Welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing summer, a wonderful day, just doing well in general. Today we have an exciting plant video. Well, it's exciting to me. This box just showed up. These are live plants from Indonesia. These are some beautiful plants. I hope that they have arrived in good shape and are healthy. We will find out together. So I'm going to unbox these as I'm going. I'm also going to just be talking about the import process, how to import plants, because it is not as simple. Well, maybe it doesn't seem simple. It seemed simple to me at the beginning. It's not simple. The first couple times that I did it, I made some mistakes. So I'll be sharing my limited wisdom as I do this, and also just showing you the plants, and hopefully, I'm really hopeful that these are doing okay. There was some delay in the shipping, not on the fault of the seller, but there was just some complications. So I hope that they have survived. The box looks okay from the outside, and that's kind of the risk you take. It's kind of like a gamble. If you're interested, if you've ever thought about importing plants, or maybe you just want to see some imported plants, stay tuned. I'm so excited. Let's just get started. Okay, I'm gonna try not to flash my address on camera. We're good. Okay, so this is the box. These plants are from greenspaces.id. I have had success importing from Greenspaces before. They actually sent me a box of plants that unfortunately died. All of them were dead upon arrival. This was a couple years ago, and they replaced all of them, and all of the replacements were perfect. So that was obviously just a shipping situation. Sellers obviously cannot control everything in the shipping process. They have to trust the shipper. And in that situation, in shipping, I think the package had gotten wet, which was maybe nobody's fault, but point is Greenspaces replaced all of the plants. So far I've had wonderful experiences with Greenspaces. I will say that these plants are gifted. I want to just be upfront about that. These are gifted, but my reaction to them, anything I say in this video is totally honest, but they are gifted. So thank you, Greenspaces. Now I am going to be putting the plants into this, which is water with liquid seaweed. I find liquid seaweed really helps plants either when you're transplanting them, or if you're moving them from like water to soil. The kelp just helps reduce shock. And I'm using Thrive from Plant Vitamins just because that's like Canadian seaweed. I live in Canada, but really any liquid seaweed product I think would help reduce shock. This is just what I use. Now, as I'm opening this, I'm going to be talking about what I have learned about importing. So I live in Canada, so everything I say is about my personal experience living in Canada. And in Canada, to import any plants at all, you need to have an import permit. And so to get that, you can apply online, or I'm sure you can apply through the mail somehow, just maybe get the form and then print it out and fill it out. But I just applied online. There's a form that you fill out, and then it takes about, I would say, a month for them to process it all. My import permit, I believe, cost between $30 and $40. It wasn't super expensive. There's a lot of tape sealing this up. It wasn't super expensive, and it lasts for a few years. However, when you apply, you do need to specify which country or countries you will be importing from. So I knew that I was going to be importing from Indonesia when I applied, but my permit does not also apply to, for example, the US. So I cannot import plants from the US with that permit. It only applies to Indonesia. And you can put a range of countries, and then when you apply, the government decides what you get. So I have heard that some people get a permit that's only good for 6 months, whereas mine was good for several years, and I don't know how they decide that. And my permit is only good for personal use. So I can import plants for my own personal use, for my collection, and of course, you know, later down the road, if I propagate them and sell them, that's fine. But I can't import a whole bunch of plants and resell them right away. I don't have that type of license. So you just have to be really honest when you're applying, because if you do get caught doing something other than what you said, you can get in big trouble. Now, So one thing I learned is that there are sketchy sellers, they're probably not even sellers, they're probably just scammers, that will say when you're messaging with them, don't worry, you don't need a permit. We know how to package plants so that they will arrive and no one will open them, no one will look for a permit. That's a red flag. And actually when I was doing my research about who to import from, multiple sellers told me that. They said, don't worry about the permit. And that's putting yourself at risk. It's obviously putting them at risk, but probably they were never actually going to be sending me anything. It was probably all a scam. But you're putting yourself at risk if you do that. You know, if your package gets opened at the border and it doesn't have a permit, you can get in trouble for that, for sure. As far as choosing who to import from, I have been scammed in the past. So I'm not talking about the dead plants from Green Spaces. That was not a scam. That was an accident. Something happened to the parcel on its way. But I have been scammed, and I have a whole video about that. And I thought I was being really thorough in researching this seller, but I got scammed, and fortunately my money was refunded, but you can learn more about that in that video. But I was scammed, and so just be really careful. And obviously, if you know, have been in the plant community for a while, you know that people will reach out and message you and offer to sell you plants, offer to send you plants. They're just someone on the internet. So you have to be really, really careful, because there is scammers. There are people just trying to make money. However, a lot of people are just being honest plant sellers, and they might seem sketchy, but that's up to you to figure out. So anyway, once you have your import permit, then you can start finding a seller, being very careful. I'm gonna have to pause to talk about this. The plants are there. They look, I can't see the plants. This is what I can see, but I just wanna finish talking before I get going. So once you have got your import permit, it's been emailed to you, you've opened it, it looks good, then you find a seller. So there's fluff in my mouth. So finding a reputable seller, I would say make sure they have multiple reviews. When I got scammed, the person did have multiple positive reviews, but those must have been bots or something. I'm not sure. I keep wanting to drink this. I will not drink it. They should get back to you. They should be able to answer most reasonable questions. So once you've decided on the seller, you have placed an order, you have paid, you're then going to send your import permit to the seller. The seller needs a copy of your import permit. That is totally normal. If they're asking for it, they need it. Once the seller has received your import permit and they know which plants that you are ordering, they will take those plants to a lab, and the lab is going to test it for different, I'm gonna see if I have the lab report here. Yeah. So the lab is going to test for different like bacterias and things like that, you know, the Canadian government has decided we don't allow into our country. So this is the Phytosanitary certificate. That is the word I was looking for. So it says the specific names of the plants that are in the box. And then it says this is to certify that the plants or plant products have been inspected and tested according to official procedures. They do not contain quarantine pests specified by the importing contracting party. So whatever is on the list of things that Canada says we cannot import, they have been inspected and they are declared to be free of those by the Republic of Indonesia Ministry of Agriculture, Indonesian Agricultural Quarantine Agency. So that is an official lab report that the seller has to get done for you. So that's called the Phytosanitary certificate. Often sellers or stores will include that for free, but sometimes you have to pay an extra $25 or $30 to get that done. You need to get it done. Like otherwise your plants will not get into Canada. I mean, I'm sure there are times when people try to skip that and it does slip into the country, but I would not recommend doing that because probably they will get opened at the border and then just destroyed. And that is really sad. And then of course also attached to this box was my import permit that says, you know, my name and address and that I am only importing these plants for my personal use, my personal collection, etc. So those things can take up to, you know, 2 months for all those procedures to be done by the seller. So just keep that in mind that if you order, the seller then needs to do all of this work. So you do need to be patient. I placed this order I should look up the exact date. I originally placed this order in at the beginning of June, June 2nd, and today is July 14th. So it took probably a month to do all of the paperwork, and then it should take like less than a week for it to arrive here. However, in this case, it took a little bit longer. I don't know what happened. So these were shipped through DHL, which is usually very speedy, but and you can of course track it and see, and it was kind of going all over. So I don't know what happened, but they're here now and I don't smell any rot, so I'm hopeful that they're gonna be okay. Your seller should be able to update you as to where your plants are in the process. So for example, with Green Spaces, they are very clear. Okay, like they actually send a spreadsheet showing the different steps. So, you know, phytosanitary inspection, packaging, shipping, all of those things. So you can check exactly what step your order is at. And they were super helpful. Like any questions I had, they got back to me fairly quickly. Any seller that you're buying from should be able to do that because they should be in contact with the agricultural inspection, all of those things. They should be doing that. They should know what they're talking about. Otherwise, either they're scamming you or your plants are not going to get past the border. Now that's how it is in Canada. I'm sure in the US it is similar. However, I believe in the US you can import a small amount of plants without an import permit. And I could be wrong, but I feel like I've heard that a few times that it's only after a certain amount do you need a permit. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I only know what I know, and that is Canada. So on here it says opened for the inspection necessary by Indonesian Agricultural Quarantine Agency. So, you know, it looks very official. It has been inspected and I had absolutely no issue at the border. When it does arrive at the border, you as the recipient will receive an email about sort of giving over the power of attorney to the shipper because they have to sign off at the border. So that is kind of odd, but it is part of the process. Someone has to actually be signing off at the border, and that is the shipper. So in this case, it was DHL. So don't be surprised if you get an email or a phone call. It is also possible to actually go to the border, like where this entered the country, which I assume is Vancouver, go there and pick it up yourself and sign off. But I don't live very close to Vancouver, so I didn't do that. Okay, I feel like that's enough talking. Let me know if you have questions. That might be better because I'm really excited about this and I feel like I'm kind of babbling to get the talking done. Here we go. Now this fluff, I'm still reusing this fluff from my last order because it's so useful when shipping plants. It's just, you know, this. I think it's cotton. I don't think it's polyfill. So far, I don't smell any rot. That was the issue with that first. Okay. That was the issue with the first order. I'm gonna stop talking about other things. I'm just gonna talk about the plants, but the first order that unfortunately rotted, as soon as I opened it, there was like a smell. It smells great in here. It smells like plants. Okay. This is a Buono, which I have been eyeing. So with this, I chose 3 and then they sent 3 by surprise. And I actually, it says on my inspection letter, of course, like the plants are in there. I tried to not look so that it's still a surprise, but I know one of them and I'm really excited. So this is a Buono. Buono or Buono? Buono. Beautiful. I'm hoping this like keeps its variegation better than my Periso Verde, which has lost all variegation, but might get it back. We'll see. And I have been eyeing these. Yeah, I've been eyeing these on other people's photos. Looks like such a beautiful plant and seems like it's fairly easy to grow. We'll see, of course. Oh, it's looking good. Okay. My goodness, this is a huge plant. Okay, so one yellow leaf already fallen off. That's okay, that's normal. Okay, there's like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 leaves on this plant. It has stunning variegation. Oh my goodness. Okay, look at that. Look at this leaf. Okay, look at this one. So beautiful. I have seen this plant in real life, but I feel like the plant I saw was not as stunning as this one. I love this leaf. That is so beautiful. That is stunning. This leaf already, I can see is falling off. So I like to just like pull off leaves that are already disappointing me. And I'm gonna get this actually right into the water and seaweed because these, like I said, have been in transit for like 2 weeks. So they're probably really thirsty. The leaves feel like they're definitely still alive, but they feel dehydrated. You know, when your plant like is thirsty, that's how these feel. I'm gonna go grab a bin for all the moss because I can probably reuse that. I'll be back again. Something else I wanted to talk about if I had time in this video is just sort of the sustainability question about importing. I think a lot of plant people, sustainability is important to many plant people, I would assume, because we're into plants, which are nature. And I'm not saying that, you know, shipping something across the world is like a necessary thing to do, or that it is an extremely sustainable thing to do all the time. Definitely not. But I think if you're gonna do it, you should do it as environmentally consciously as you are able to do. So Green Spaces, I would say, is extremely conscientious about sustainability. They are not poaching plants from the wild. They are propagating plants that are native to Indonesia and then mailing them out to the rest of the world, which I think is really beautiful. It's like sharing a natural, what's the word? Renewable. It's sharing a natural renewable resource with the world. And I think Indonesia is known for their beautiful plants. So I think that's great. I think to make the practice even more sustainable, we're using moss, which I do for sustainability, but also just like to save money. I try to save shipping materials as much as possible. I sell some plants on Etsy, so I find it really useful to already have shipping materials available in my house. Okay, these roots look amazing. Look, whoa. Okay, these look great. They are not squishy. They are feeling good, and they are going into the water kelp solution. There we go. And we've got some moss there. Okay, next plant. Okay, this is a Philodendron Domesticum variegata, so variegated Philodendron Domesticum. I had never heard of Philodendron Domesticum at all. I obviously looked it up when I was sort of looking through the list of, so this is one of these two plants I did request. And I saw it on the site and I was like, what is that plant? And sometimes I find when you're shopping, you know, across the world, they use slightly different vocabulary, different translation. It makes sense, right? Like whatever. Probably their wording is more correct because the plant actually grows in their country, in Indonesia. So I had never heard of the Domesticum variegata, but it looked really cool. And I, of course, was Googling pictures of it and it looks stunning. We'll see how it looks in person. I've never, like I said, I never heard of it before. I have never seen one in person. I had never seen photos until that moment. Now I've seen many photos and it looks really cool. The leaves look really, really beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So the leaves kind of remind me of Philodendron tiger tooth or jungle boogie. Like it's kind of like a serrated, almost. It's not like super serrated, but the shape is similar, but then it's variegated. And this is like, I'm looking in the viewfinder, this is like highly variegated. Okay, so this plant is, feels really healthy. Oh, there was like a new leaf coming in. I don't know if you can see, there was a new leaf coming in here and it has kind of rotted off, which again, I mean, what do we really expect of these plants you know, I think honestly, the fact that any leaves are still intact is kind of a miracle. I'm just so thankful these plants weren't dead. Like I said, when DHL, like, I don't know what was happening, but the plants were kind of going all over, and Green Spaces contacted me and was like, we're a little bit worried. Hopefully they arrive soon. And that's how I felt too. I was a little bit worried. And I'm sure DHL, you know, does a refund or whatever if it's their fault. But yes, a refund, I mean, like I said, these were gifted, but yes, a refund would be great for Green Spaces, but it's still really sad that plants got all the way over here and then died. Like that was sad with that first order. Like that, it's a waste of resources, of course. It was just a waste of beautiful plants, and it makes me sad that they died en route to me. I feel kind of like guilty, like I caused them to die. Anyway, these are things that only plant people care about, but. Okay, these roots seem good. Seem a lot finer than the Jose Buono roots, but it's definitely a smaller plant. Oh, okay. There's some significant roots. There's some significant roots in here. Like what? Like this is a full plant. This is, you know, this is a full-on plant. So lots of roots there. I'm excited to see this size up. I'm excited actually just to have it like this. Like this is already a stunning plant. I find too, you know, so many times when you are shopping, people are selling cuttings, which fair enough. But then some people are selling full on plants like this. Like this is a full plant. Of course it's gonna get bigger, but this is a full on plant. So put that in there. It's very similar, well no, different variegation. The Jose Buono is more like splattery, and the Domesticum is almost marbled and more yellow. The Domesticum definitely has more yellow cream, although Jose Buono does too. Anyway, okay, take this out. Okay, tangamis red. I don't even know what genus of plant that is. Tangamis. It's a Hoya. It's a Hoya. Okay. So I did not request this one. I have never even heard of a Hoya I don't know if I'm pronouncing it tangamus. Hoya tangamis red. This is like a fairly sizable Hoya. I did order a Hoya. There's another Hoya in here that I can't wait to open. But I'm excited about this. I've never even a red Hoya. I wonder if there's another name for this. Okay, first of all, huge leaves. Oh my goodness, so funny. So it has rooted into the Kleenex. That's how long it was in transit. It's actually rooted into this. That's so funny. It also shows how like vigorous this plant is. Okay, so let's look at the leaves of the tangamis red. Please let me know if you know anything about this plant. Can you see the little roots in the Kleenex? That's so funny. Okay, these leaves are huge. And I can see why it's called red. Like it definitely has a red, I'm assuming kind of a sun stress situation. And these leaves feel very firm. They don't feel dehydrated at all. Hoyas, I feel as a whole are pretty, what's the word? They don't mind being shipped. Like if they've got their moss, you know, because Hoyas don't get you don't have to water them as often as philodendrons, so it would make sense that they would ship a lot easier. Green Spaces had a lot of Hoyas, and I love Hoyas, but I don't have an extensive collection, and I feel someday I might, I don't know, but I was looking at the Hoyas, and like I said, I did choose one, but I don't know, they have a lot of Hoyas on there to choose from. And you're getting a huge plant, apparently. Thought it would be like one leaf, but. Okay, get Get this off. I'm excited to see the roots on this guy. Okay, I don't want to like pick. Hoya roots I find are kind of finicky. I don't want to pick all the moss off. It'll probably just soak off in the bucket anyway. Okay, so you know, Hoyas are kind of funny with their roots, but the fact, oh, okay, chunk of roots just, was that roots? Yeah, chunk of roots just fell off, unfortunately, but as you saw, it's okay. It's trying to attach itself to Kleenex. I think it will be okay. There's definitely still roots here. So yeah, like the main roots are there. The main roots are there, but all the little like hairs kind of fell off in the moss. But I'm excited about this. I have to research this plant to learn more about it, but that's a huge leaf. I love the veiny leaves. I love that look. Pop that in there. Okay. Next. Okay, Labisia dino skin. So I don't have any Labisias at all. This is a surprise one. I did not choose this one. From what I know of Labisias, they are in general happier in high humidity or terrarium. So maybe I will put it in my cabinet, or I do have space in some of my little terrariums. We'll see how big this guy is. Looks small so far. But again, if you know, if you're like a Labisia pro, let me know. Oh my goodness. Okay, I see why it's called dino skin. What? What a cute little plant. So these leaves are almost black. And you can see the texture there. You can see why it's called dino skin. This plant feels quite dehydrated, which again makes sense if it prefers high humidity and then it's been sitting in a box for a while. It would be quite dehydrated. I definitely want to get this into water. And then I have to research whether it will be happy, you know, in my terrarium or not. It looks like a terrarium plant. I feel like I've seen a lot of pink Labisias. I need my moss bin. Okay, so these are like very tiny little roots. This stem looks a little bit, so the stem here looks a little bit black, but I don't know, it doesn't feel mushy or anything at all. And there's significant roots, and even if I have to cut that off, this part still has roots. So should be fine. Get that into water. Be interesting to see how long it takes to perk up. Because like I said, I know nothing about Labisias. I don't want to lose any leaves, but okay, there, she's in there. Okay, that was cool. Maybe I'll get into Labisias now that I have one. I feel like once you have one and you figure out how to take care of that genus, then it's very tempting to get more. I was never tempted to get Hoyas until I had like one or two and they were thriving, and then I got more. Okay, so this is the Hoya diki. This is one that I requested. Hoya diki, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, is very adorable. It's kind of heart-shaped, but veiny. My goodness. Oh my goodness. So absolutely beautiful. Look at those leaves. Like, they are so cute. And they are very dehydrated, so once they get hydrated, I think they'll be even more adorable. This plant I feel is more adorable than I was anticipating. Okay, get that one in water. And then there's only one more. So that's 6? Yeah. I'm just so happy all of these plants are alive. What I'm going to do with these, I'm gonna let them hydrate for probably overnight. I'm gonna let them sit in this water. I'm probably gonna add a little bit more water so that this Labisia has enough water. It's kind of like sitting on the top there. So I'm gonna let them sit overnight, and then if they look good in the morning, I will pot them up. I don't think they need longer than that in the water. And usually like I'll pot them up and I'll just dump all of this extra nutrient-rich water into the plant pot and maybe even add some more of the kelp fertilizer just to make sure that they don't go into too much shock. But shock is normal. Like yellow leaves are normal. When you think about what these plants have been through, shock is pretty normal. Okay, super good roots on this guy. I'm so happy. This is such a cute plant. Okay, so there's the roots. They look great. Okay, Hoya diki. This one, honestly, I was like most excited about this one. I was really excited about the philodendrons as well. And then I didn't even know about these other guys, so. It's kind of cool to get a surprise though. That was Green Space's idea. Like you choose 3 and we will surprise you with 3, which you just never know. You never know. Okay, and this Clary M. What does that mean? Clary M. I keep looking at this paper because these are like the full names. Anthurium clarinervium. Okay, is that what I have? I have an Anthurium crystallinum. I never know whether I have one Anthurium, that's it. And I never know if it's a clarinervium or a crystallinum, but I guess I'll see if this is the same. If it's the same, maybe I'll have to do a giveaway or something. This one has some major roots. Oh my goodness, this is so beautiful. Is this the same as what I have? Oh, we lost a leaf. That's okay. Is this the same of, yeah, this is what I have. Is it? I don't know enough about Anthurium to know. I think this is the same. I'm looking at my other one, which is over there. Maybe I'll get it. I'll look at them side by side. Ta-da! No. These are different. These are different. Okay, when I see them side by side, I can see. Wait, are they different or is this one bigger? I cannot. Well, from what I understand, the difference is that one of them, clarinervium or crystallinum, one of them gets bigger, like bigger leaves. I think that's the difference. Okay, Anthurium people, just let me know. Are these the same plant? And if so, maybe I will do a giveaway. But this plant, if these are the same, this plant is much more mature and bigger. And like, look at those leaves. So I'll put this one down. We'll actually have a look at this. Now, Anthuriums, I don't have a ton of them because I've heard that they're a little bit finicky. Mine has been pretty happy, but it has been in a cabinet. Uh-oh, what is this? I think that's a root. I'm not sure what that was. They're a bit finicky, so I haven't really invested heavily in Anthurium. I have my one, and I kind of like the Hoyas, like I'm learning about that and I'm slowly wanting more. But these leaves look really, really healthy. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4 leaves and 1 fell off. But look at those. Those are stunning. This one on the back has a tiny little bit of damage, but again, I'm learning with Anthurium, like damaged leaves are fairly normal. It's just part of life. There's like some significant rooting happening here. I think it's so funny that I can't tell if they're the same. I mean, they both have the heart shape. This one has more veining. That's what I'm kind of like, does it have more veining because it's more mature, or does it have more veining because it's a different plant? Doesn't really matter, it's beautiful. Could also plant them together. Okay, some of these roots definitely are rotten. By some, I mean 2. Oh my goodness. Actually, I do have another Anthurium that I'm, like some little Anthurium seedlings that I'm growing from seed. I forgot about those. They're still babies. Okay, there's like a lot. There's a lot in here. Looks like spaghetti. Oh my. Okay, well, I think this Anthurium is like way more developed than the one. What on earth? Is this normal? Is this normal? Okay, oh my goodness. Okay, so this is my new Anthurium. Oh my goodness. Okay, will this even fit in here? I thought this was like way too big of a container, and now I think this one is gonna need its own container. Surprisingly, the Anthurium seems totally unbothered by shipping. Like, it looks totally fine. Whereas what I've heard is Anthuriums are more finicky, but what do I know? Maybe because the leaves are like super flat, it travels well. I'm just gonna hold this. I need to vacuum and clean up, but hopefully you have enjoyed learning about plant import slash just watching me unbox these crazy plants. I'm really happy, I'm really excited. Green Spaces, thank you. I highly recommend Green Spaces if you can't tell. But of course, if you want to order from another seller, just do your due diligence. Like, make sure that they are legit, because once your money's gone, it's gone. Another also, oh, I was gonna say it's in the beginning, I forgot about this. Whoever you decide to order from, make sure that the form of payment you use is a form of payment that is somewhat protected or can be refunded if you do get scammed. I'll let you research that on your own, but there are some methods of payment that, like, once your money's gone, it's gone. And then there's other methods of payment that will help you get your money back if needed. So that's something definitely to look into. I was gonna say that at the beginning, but I forgot. Have a wonderful day. I'm going to just stare at these plants for a little while and then clean up. And I hope to see you in my next video. Please let me know if you have any questions about importing, and I will try to answer, or at least like find the answer if I can. Bye.